Hi and welcome to another video. In this video I'm going to spray my Fiamma bike rack black. As you can see, it's just a standard aluminium frame at the moment and I've got to knock everything off and take it to pieces. So I'm going to take these little red end cap things off first. Slide all the little parts off. All the attachments have got to come off. It's basically got to strip it down to just the component parts. Now everything is pretty dirty after being on the back of the van for a few years, so give everything a nice soak in a bit of fairy liquid or something, and don't forget that little red one there. So I'm going to take a picture now so I can reference it later when I reassemble it. So now it's time for me to take everything to pieces and start preparing it for spraying. Again, everything's got to be washed down, so give everything a nice lovely bath. Now put up a rope to hang the biggest part off, just so I can get around it and spray every side really quickly. As you can see, it's very windy today, so I lose about 50% of the spray can to the breeze. I'm using a bit of surgical spirits to prepare the surface, so just any kind of alcohol wipe is absolutely perfect. Don't want any loose debris or anything like that. Now some of the red parts didn't actually come off, so I've had to mask over them because I want to keep the red, because I want it to be a red and black rack. And everything is now masked off and looking pretty good. So again, I'm going to have to wipe everything down with the surgical spirits just to make sure there's no grease on there at all. And I'm using an etch primer. So this is what I bought this for my alloy wheels. So that's another project for the future. So I use it pretty much the whole can on doing all this because it takes a lot of spray. So that's pretty much coat number one. I do about another 2 or 3 coats. And this is the alloy spray that I got. This is again for the wheels. This is a matte black spray. And it takes just several coats of this. I was really happy with the matte colour that I did on the roof rack. So I just want to keep it like that. I didn't use a lacquer. I should have maybe used a matte lacquer, but hey ho, we'll see what happens in the future. Now everything's been sprayed a bajillion times. I've got a pot of 1,000 screws there to go back on. Probably end up with a few of those at the end, I should think. Now it's time to unwrap those little red parts and see what they look like against the black. Fingers crossed it looks pretty good. Yep, I am super happy with that. I think that looks amazing. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So it's time to put the whole thing back together. The whole project took me basically just one day to do, really, so it wasn't too bad. Just don't do it on a windy day like I did, that's all I can say. So here I'm just going to measure each side of these troughs because I want them to be equal. I don't want to have an unequal trough, no one wants that. So I'll just do the first one and then just use a plank of wood just to speedily do the second two. There should be 4 on this, but I'll buy another trough another time. So the hardware goes back on. And they're looking pretty good. All the red parts look really nice. It's time to get this on the van. Now there is some proper rubber bits to actually go on the back of the boot, but I forgot about them and I used a bit of inner tube because that seemed to be a pretty nice thing to use. So it's quite simple to put this rack on. They've just got some hooks which fix over the top of the door there, as you can see. And it's as simple as that. You just hang it on and then you just got to make sure everything's central, which is what I'm doing now. Now, because I've cut my spoiler before, when I first installed the rack, it was pretty easy to get it all level anyway. Now you've got to reconnect the back light there, which is in the spoiler. And there's a little peg underneath the spoiler, which will go into like a little hole in the van door there. So it's pretty simple. As you can see on the top of the spoiler, I've had to cut 2 holes because those just do not fit through. I don't know how other people have done it. I've seen them without those, but I had to cut them to make it fit nice and level. So there's my cutouts for the rack. So it's looking pretty good. So secure the spoiler back on. There's only 4 bolts to put that on. And these brackets fit on the bottom of the boot lid, and this really secures the entire rack down. So it is a really good rack. It's lovely and secure. These are quite simple, just pass the bolts through the frame. You've also got to have a bit of protection for the bodywork, so I'm actually using an inner tube because this seemed far better than what came with the kit. Whack the other one on there. Nice and simple, tighten them up. Now it's time to put the straps and the red end caps back on. So that's it. We are done. I think that looks absolutely brilliant. I'm super happy with the colour. It blends in with the van really nicely. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.